On this Refugee Day, let us recall our common humanity, celebrate tolerance and open our hearts to refugees and internally displaced persons everywhere in the world. The United Nations General Assembly adopted in December 2000 a resolution where it noted that 2001 marked the 50th anniversary of the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees and designated 20 June as United Nations World Refugee Day.
But I tried, because I did participate as a, in this war, and a veteran of this war, and saw what happened. But let's start from the Refugee Day and then go to the to what was a link between the Refugee Day and the problems which we do have now. Refugee Day, for now, refugee crisis is one of the most important crises which are going now in European Union. And when we talk about it, we should remind that, listen, it started not just 2 years ago, 1 year ago, it started many years ago. It started not even from the former Yugoslavia. It started before, when Soviet Union collapsed. And so many refugees, so many refugee crises happened all over the territory of the former Soviet Union.
Mr. Marc Verwilghen, you are the director of the European Azerbaijan Society, TEAS, and you're here at the Press Club Brussels today to present a book about the events in the town of Khojaly in Azerbaijan. It's called Khojaly Witness of a War Crime. What exactly is the book trying to say?
Well, the book is trying to explain what happened in the Nagorno-Karabakh war in the 80s, late 80s, beginning of the 90s, by which practically 1 million of Azerbaijani people had to leave their lands, their properties, and even their country, and they became internally displaced persons, what means refugees in their own country. And here especially we have a very tragic moment. This was a massacre of Khojaly, where the Armenian army gives a pathway for the civilians of Khojaly, but they were trapped and they were threatened. In fact, they were killed by flooding the town that was kept by the Armenians.
I get the impression a lot of this information hasn't yet come to light. Is that the case? Is this like an exclusive, a revelation on the world?
Let's say that it is a well-known fact for those who have lived in Nagorno-Karabakh, as well on the Armenian as on the Azerbaijani side. But worldwide, we have to recognize that nobody knows what exactly happened there. And it is good to know, because it is, for a part, it's one of the reasons why the conflict cannot be resolved. You have to know that the president, the actual president of Armenia, Mr. Sarkisian, was the military commander at that time. And in fact, it was an atrocity that he committed. It's a crime of war. And it is very difficult to be at the table as a president of a country and to try to find a peaceful solution, knowing that you have a very huge responsibility of what passed there.
Is the aim therefore then not only to highlight what has happened, but also to push, to promote the EU to be able to do something about this to prevent it happening again in the future?
Yeah, of course. It's very clear that if we want to find a solution, we are working for the moment with the Minsk group. But as you know, there is a co-chair of Americans, Russians and French parties, but Europe isn't enough involved. So we have to know that the South Caucasus is, that's next door for Europe and for the 28 countries of the European Union. This means that Europe is also implicated in this question, and that they have to play a more active role than they do until today.
One final question. I get the impression that obviously this has been put together by your organisation, this book. It doesn't seem to have a writer. Is there any one person behind it, or is it a team effort?
Yes, of course, there is the European Azerbaijan Society, what is a European foundation, and the European Foundation is working on three levels. We are trying to find more awareness for Azerbaijan and to have a good cooperation with the European Union and the European institutions as well, and also with the Benelux and Belgium in particular, on three fields: on the economic field, on the cultural field, but also in public affairs, about the fate of this 1 million internally displaced persons, refugees in their own country, as I have said. This is a real problem, and we hope on this way, by organizing this event on United Nations Refugees Day, to have more importance and more interest for the problem and the solution of the problem, of course.